a structure of mystical and alien origin, emanating particles of abstract perspectives and reflection into the expansive nightscape to those who know where to listen. This is Monolith the Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Monolith the Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. I was about to say me and Manuel.
Oh, it's okay.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
because I don't know if I have like another alter ego of myself.
I think you're creating one.
Maybe.
The more you record, it might happen.
Because if I were to, I imagine it would just be another me. So it's just.
Well, that's how Trey Spells was born. Like, I started recording before I even had a name. It just became like something. So,
but wouldn't an alter ego just be like some just a vast kind of like differenceness between myself?
It can be, but you start to have the notice of it when you refer yourself to that name. Like if you're already starting off with something and then you refer back to your regular name, that just means you became that alter ego.
Huh.
And you have to refer yourself to like, hey, well, this is my actual name. You know what I mean?
I evolved then.
Yeah, I think you did.
Anywho, so not me and Manuel, it's Trey Spells and Manuel.
Manuel and Trey Spells, yes.
Yeah.
Episode 6.
Episode 6, back at it again.
Yeah, you didn't
talking about more
you didn't think we would be
movies.
here, but we are.
Oh, we are.
What are we talking about today?
Just stuff we saw.
Okay. I think we saw a few things actually, right?
Yeah, we actually saw quite a few things together this week.
Yes.
So
Somehow we did. That was weird.
Stuff that just came up, stuff that's been kind of the back burner for a while between the both of us, and then I'll probably have it as like the topic episode Tetsuo, which has been on my like list of to watch for a really, really long time.
Right.
And there was never like really a good release out, but what do you know? It's on Shudder. Shudder is just like a safe haven of for this podcast. So
I feel like Shudder's
really, really handy for us.
Yeah, I feel like Shudder's killing it with some of these type of films.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like putting them on there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some like films that like I think the last one I wanted to see was Daniel Isn't Real, and that ended up being on Shudder.
Yeah.
And you get to see your movie, and we don't know what's coming out. It's like, and the fact that it's only what $5.99.
Yeah, like $6.99, like $7 a month.
And once again, we're not shouting out Shudder to we're not being
We are
paid.
shouting out. We're not getting paid for it though.
We're not getting paid, but we're just loving it so much. We're loving the content that's on there.
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
We're loving it.
Did you want to talk about that movie first?
We can.
Okay.
To mix things up a bit.
Okay.
We don't really need to have a structure, so let's just jump right into it. Tetsuo, the Iron Man.
Yes. Let's see. It was directed by. Oh God, I'm gonna have problems with these names here. It's a foreign film, right?
Yeah, Japanese
film. Geez, I don't know how to pronounce these. Shinya, Tsukamoto. Is that
sure.
okay? Is that okay?
I don't have it in front of me, so we'll go with that.
We'll go with that. It's supposed to be a trilogy, but the first one came out in 1989. That's the one we're going to talk about. And
yep, that's the one we saw.
The second and third, we're not going to talk about because we didn't see them yet, and they're at different times. And I think the last one was even in 2009, so that's just way out there. We're not going to talk about those. We're going to talk about this one. And it's an hour and 7 minutes. It was July 1st, 1989 when it came out, which is actually next week, which is what a coincidence. So I think.
Oh wow!
So that movie is what?
I didn't even think about
31 years old now. It'll be 31 years old now. It's about a businessman accidentally kills a metal fetishist who gets his
Metal
revenge by
fetishist.
slowly turning the man into a grotesque hybrid flesh of rusty metal. And
Oh, yeah.
let's get into it.
That is indeed what happens.
Yes.
I thought it was wonderful. Really, right off the bat, it's just gross out. The dude, I wasn't even expecting it at all. The dude splits his thigh open and shoves a metal rod like an inch thick into
Right.
the gash.
And that was that was like in the first 5 minutes of the film, right?
That was like the first 10 seconds.
The first 10 seconds. So you already know what you're getting into when you see that part.
Just right off the bat. And it's really interesting. The whole movie kind of keeps you on your toes because everything's kind of mixed up. Because it goes from there and he realizes, oh, I fucked up. I probably should not have done that. And he starts running off. Like, I guess, presumably to go to a hospital or to help. But then he gets hit by a car. And from there, we just kind of get all these crazy flashes of the protagonist, who is the businessman, having all these weird flashes and weird stop motion effects are going on. Like those viral videos of people just standing in place, but they're moving down the sidewalk and street.
Yeah.
Like they do that throughout the movie. And it's so interesting because I'm pretty sure the movie didn't influence that kind of viral video craze, but still seeing it done like 15 years or 20 years before the phenomena, that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's like they thought of all this stuff well before we did.
So you're saying it's like ahead of its time a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
I would say so too, for being 1989. Like, man.
It was very experimental, trying a whole bunch of stuff, mainly stop motion effects, as well as just, what would you call it? Plaster or makeup. Just special effects makeup, just globbing a whole bunch of crap onto people to wear. And just kind of go around because the dude at the end just turns into a horrible amalgamation of flesh and metal.
Right, yeah.
And you cannot go into Tetsuo, the Iron Man, without bringing up like the giant drill penis that he gets.
Yes, that was very surprising.
Were you like taken aback when he drilled it through the coffee table?
Oh, he did a lot of things with that drill.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was gonna be a big part of his body that used it for many different things. But they
you
used
don't know. Yeah, you had no idea what was coming throughout this whole movie.
Yeah, and I want to say like the metal stuff and the way they were doing things reminded me of the Terminator 2 actually. To be exact. But I think this was before Terminator 2. I'm looking it up right now. But so the first Terminator was 1984, but Terminator 2 was 1991. That's when they used like a lot of more like metal type stuff, like liquidy. But that was more Terminator 2 was more liquidy, but the first one was more like metal. So maybe I'm thinking maybe this had like a little influence by the Terminator, just by the way like they were using metal. They're like, they probably watched that and they're like, let's make this like 10 times crazier and wackier. Like let's enhance this. Let's make this more intensifying with metal, and let's change the story.
Let's make it a body horror movie.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I liked about it. I definitely can't show this film to probably a lot of people. They're they might get turned off by it. Well, it depends, like there's a lot of different type of people out there, so you never know what you get.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything else to the movie?
I just thought it was a really interesting take on the kind of revenge grudge story. Because watching it halfway through, everything's all mixed up. You follow the first guy who is a metal fetishist. He gets hit by a car, and then you start following a businessman who starts seeing some crazy shit. The lady at the subway stop starts like getting infected and chasing after him, and he runs off, and then he's back at home with his wife, and things escalate from there. But you don't really realize that the businessman was the one that hit the metal fetishist with the car, and they just threw his body out like to a ravine and just left him for dead. Not even a shallow grave, just left him on the side of the road. So his spirit comes back for vengeance, and that's when I clicked on me. It's like, oh, this is a Grudge movie, because Japanese and their Grudge legends, they seem to have a kind of a lore with revenant spirits coming, and that's what the Grudge movies are based on, or the like Ju-on, I think it's called in Japan, the original.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Which is honestly one of the scariest films I've ever seen in my life when I was a kid.
I wanted to watch it when I was like much younger. I remember when Netflix was still a DVD mail service.
The American version one? Or
no, the original Japanese.
The original.
I never got around to it.
I don't think I've watched the original Japanese. I just know the American one scared the shit out of me. And
then the Japanese version is probably going to scare you way much more than.
Well, that's the thing. We'll have to try it, because I did move on. I did watch like the Grudge 2, the Grudge 3, which is not as good. But then they also had the remake of the Grudge that came out this year. I still haven't watched that one. But I think that kind of sets me up for a new movie idea. Like, let's watch the old Japanese version. Have you seen that one? Yes or no?
No, I just said I haven't watched it.
Okay, so you haven't watched that one. So let's try to check that one out and compare it to the 2020 version remake, and just like compare how bad one is and one is good. You know what I mean?
Oh, the Japanese one's going to be better. I can already tell you that.
I know that's going to make us rip up the 2020 version. and it stars the guy from Harold and Kumar, which is even funnier.
Yeah. he's in a lot more movies lately.
He's getting a lot more popular movies, but I keep forgetting they even had a remake, and it was so like low key, or just like nobody even talked about it. It was definitely.
You just reminded me of that just now.
Yeah, like nobody even talked about the Grudge since 2004, or like that's the last time they talked about it. They made the 2 and the 3. Nobody really talked about that, but even this remake was just so like. It was just there. Nobody talked about it, and that was that.
Yep. Do you want to hear my plan though?
What's your plan?
We should watch the original Grudge, Japanese Grudge movie. Then we'll watch the original Ring movie, the Japanese movie, not the American remake that came out like early 2000s, but the original Japanese Ring movie.
So I'm seeing the first Grudge movie came out in 2002. I think. And then
the Japanese
and then what was the next one you said?
The Japanese Grudge and then the Japanese Ring.
Oh, the Japanese Ring. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen that one either. But I remember seeing the American one. That one wasn't scary to me, but man, I remember the hype on it. I was like in 6th grade. The hype on it was just so wild. All the kids were talking about it. I'm just like, I haven't seen this movie. They're like, yeah, don't watch that movie. You're gonna die in 7 days. What the fuck?
But the original Japanese, though, we'll watch those 2, and then we'll watch the 2016 Sadako versus Kayako movie, where they have the Grudge face off with the girl from the Ring.
I heard about that movie.
Yeah,
I didn't know you knew about that.
Oh, yeah.
It came across my research one day, and I'm just like, wait, is this a real movie? And it is. Like, I didn't know how to explain it to anybody, so I just left it alone. I pushed away the websites, and I said, okay, I can't talk to anybody about this film.
No one's gonna bring it out. We gotta bring back the verses.
Yes. Yeah, that
Freddy versus Jason was amazing.
Oh, that would be great. We should definitely watch that film and bring Justin.
I saw there's this one. I guess for promotional because the Japanese love baseball,
Yes.
right? There was to promote the Grudge versus the Ring movie. They had for doing the first pitch on one of the baseball games in Japan. They had, I think it was the Ring girl on the pitcher's mound. She's all waving her arms with her long hair covering her face, and then the Grudge kid or whatever. No. The Grudge kid was like the bat boy, and then they had like the other ghost woman in the Grudge, at home base with the bat, and she's all like kind of like wobbling in place, hunched over, and then I think the Ring girl like just threw the ball. I don't think he even made it like to the home base.
All right, so I just typed it on YouTube. I haven't watched it yet, but yes, it's literally on YouTube. Holy shit!
Great. That's promotion right there.
I'm excited to watch that later on. But yeah,
definitely check it out.
Well, what Manny just said is real, and it's on YouTube. all I typed in was the Grudge baseball, and it's literally the Grudge female at the pitcher mound, and she's ready to pitch a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
That's how you promote.
How did you not show me this earlier?
I forgot about it. Maybe I don't know. I just forgot. I just kept it to myself, like how you kept the Grudge versus Ring movie to yourself when you first heard about it.
Yes, that's true. Yes. I didn't bring it up because I didn't think anyone was going to like take it seriously or watch it. But we'll get to that one pretty soon. Back to the Iron Man.
Yep.
Do you want to
the Iron Man?
add any more details to it?
All I can really say is about it is anybody that can watch it, go watch it.
It's on Shudder.
It's on Shudder.
And are you ready to rate it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Iron Man 31 years ago came out, and right now it has a 7.0 on IMDb.
7.0?
7.0 out of 10. What would you like to give it?
Gotta bump it up. Bump it up to an 8.
Bump it up to an 8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to bump it up to a 7.8. How about that one?
7.8.
I took
round it out, it becomes another 8.
I took a IMDb score and your score, and I put the two numbers together. It's like I don't know what to rate that film because it's like such a different type of film. You know what I mean?
Very experimental. Yes.
It's not your regular cinema type film. Maybe it was back in I don't know what type of theaters they were probably showing this into.
It's definitely more on the indie scene. Just they wouldn't make that kind of movie. I want to say Japanese businessmen are a lot more punctual, more stricter than even like the Hollywood executives right now.
Yeah.
Here. So, they want to have, even if they make a lot of weird movies, like trying to look into, especially nowadays, since the Japanese movie studios discovered CGI.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, now we could really make whatever we want.
Exactly.
And it's crazy. But we also saw the new Eric Andre comedy special, Legalize Everything.
Yes.
Been looking forward to that for a while. Have him having his own special on Netflix or wherever.
His first one.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about it first, or do you want me to talk about it? Well, here's the facts about it. It came out on June 23rd, 2020. So it just came out 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's Eric Andre's first special. And you must probably know him from the Eric Andre show, which I would hopefully probably know him from, or else he would not be watching this. But also, what just reminded me of, it probably brings in a lot of new critics that probably have not seen the Eric Andre show. You know what I mean? It's like, if you think about it, like Netflix is like your big platform, right?
Yeah.
But also at the same time, you're going to get a lot of critic reviews of like, who's this guy? But promoters are probably like, it doesn't matter, just watch it and tell us what you think of it. You know what I mean? Like, where they don't understand the comedian in the first place, but have to watch it, and they're just like, what the hell did I just watch in 2020?
They have to watch just how out of his mind Eric Andre is when he runs up on stage. He just starts yelling at everybody.
for about the first 20 minutes of it. First 20 minutes of him just yelling.
He does settle down like towards the second half, which I'm grateful for, because I was hoping it wasn't just that for a long time. I'm glad it went to like other directions as well that you don't normally see in a comedy show, but more of what you see in his Eric Andre show, his the random stuff he does he'll do like a little Adult Swim extra thing, like when he went to the RNC and the DNC, like the Republican whatever, Democrat whatever. Those videos are great from 3 years ago. Just a lot of interaction with the audience, which is always fun. You don't really see that.
The interaction was so great. The interaction was so great. I don't think I've ever seen that with comedy stand-ups with using the people. And I know there's a phone scene part. Not
a lot of times where the comedian will call someone's mom.
I'm gonna call it now though. I've never seen that before. Like, I've seen a lot of stand-up comedies. This was different. Yeah. That changed the game right there that Eric Andre did. What was your thoughts on that? The phone scene, the FaceTime.
That, actually, the only time I've ever seen that, I actually seen it live when we went to go see Tyler, the Creator, all those years back. I think someone threw their phone on stage, and then Tyler picked it up. And I think Jasper was able to unlock it, because I think back then with the older iOSs, there were ways to get around the phone lock.
Wait, what?
So they were able to go in, and they called her mom, and they just started saying, I think they either called or FaceTime, probably called, but he just called like, hey, we stole your daughter's phone, shit like that. It was great. Yeah, that was the only time I've ever seen a performer do something like that.
And what was great about this Eric Andre thing is it has some history for me, is because you introduced me to Eric Andre, and I don't know what year that was. Was it 2014, 2015? Wow. Whenever we met, you and Justin were like, "Hey, we got to show him Eric Andre," and you guys finally did. And I mean, he's came a long way from now, and I think he's just about to get bigger. Like this Netflix schedule or this Netflix special, and then like his movie Bad Trip, we'll get to later on in the future. But
if it ever comes out,
on Netflix, like it was supposed to, I want to say it's just like, it's like history in the making. It's just like, I never knew Eric Andre would be this big. I really didn't. Like, did you ever think he would get this big? From coming from Adult Swim, right?
His Eric Andre show, I think he even started off on public access. And that's why the season 1 episodes look so shitty. It's because they're using just whatever studio cameras they had, and then maybe Adult Swim picked it up so they can finish it, through some more money. Yeah, the first season. So they just gave him more and more to work with, and then he just made it bigger, and just escalated everything and made it crazier, made everything more like just really went all out to make you question what you're seeing. And more importantly, I feel like he makes you question like what you even think about it. Like, what are you thinking about what you're seeing?
Yes, exactly. And
because it's all stupid, but it's also thought provoking as well. There's some like thinking going on.
Yeah, it makes you question reality too. At the same time, it's like, am I supposed to be serious right now, or am I supposed to be joking? Do I take this seriously? Like, it makes you question everything.
Is this real life?
Like this is a superb, like, comedian. Like he's on a new level. That's the way I look at it. Like when you guys first showed me him, I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy? He's like doing interviews on on the Eric Andre show. I'm just like, dude, and he has these celebrities, and like you guys explain like the things going behind the scenes, but still, you can't like what do you call that, when you can't script all of that. You know what I mean? Like
that's what the Eric Andre show is all about. It's all about bringing out the realness out of people, because a lot of talk shows, they have doing the interviews with celebrities while going out, whatever. They all have a facade that they wear. They just want to go on and promote some shit. But Eric Andre puts them, and Hannibal Buress, they put all their interviewees on the spot and just get them into just feeling uncomfortable, feeling afraid.
Yes, the uncomfortable feeling. That's what I love.
And it brings out the real, like how they actually are. And some cases, it's good. Some cases it's not. It's kind of bad.
Yeah.
And there's some other shows that kind of try to replicate that style. There's like, I remember Comedy Central had like some weird, like, where they had like a guy in a monster costume interview people, and I think Eric Andre even produced that show, but I could tell it was just trying to kind of replicate that's kind of crazy style, just random XD.
They were trying to copy
what's gonna happen. That's what I feel like, but I never even tried watching it because
it's not that good if you never even showed me it, because I've never even heard of it.
Well, it died, yeah, and it died like after one season, so.
Oh, well, there you go, right?
I don't even remember what it's called. And just going back to talking about the special, I feel like at first it wasn't really on par with that, or at least it wasn't exactly what I imagined. I guess the way to put it, I was kind of expecting, I was pondering if it was the comedy special would be more like his show, his stand-up. But it's just, I guess, just trying to transfer his comedy to stand-up. It was had a little rocky start, but then it came together better in the second half.
Yeah, because the first half was it was pretty wild. It was good. It was
just like yelling a lot, and he'll kind of ramble, and he'll bring up a story or a funny situation, and the punchline was just like, and then like I got fucked in the ass or some shit like that.
Exactly.
He's building up, but then it has that kind of punchline that doesn't really pack a punch. It's just more outlandish. Like,
so you're saying the punchline is not that good
for most of the first half, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. It's cool to see Eric Andre doing this thing and getting together with Netflix. I enjoyed it. I like the part that I like the things that he brought up politically, but not too strong. Do you know what I mean by that? Like he brought up some political things, some stuff,
but he always just kind of mellow. He kind of breaks it down a bit by also bringing up some other topics into it, and he always has an interesting way of mixing topics together. That's another thing of his comedy that I like.
Yeah, he tried to bring he even brought up some like history, like you said. He brought up some facts at the same time and turned them into a little bit of jokes. That's always good. But other than that, I give it a watch, but don't watch it with your mother or your father. That's what I would say. It's the most. It's honestly the most vulgar stand-up comedy I've ever seen. Inappropriate, inappropriate. Like it's appropriate to whatever age that you are at right now, but it's not for your parents. No, don't watch that. Don't watch this with your parents.
No,
because I was about to. I was about to watch it with my mother, and I'm so glad I did not. Yeah, we would have turned it off within like 20 seconds out of the 51 minutes that it is. Do you have anything else to say about it?
Nope. That's about it.
All right, so IMDb have gave it a 6.3 out of 10. 6.3 out of 10. What would you like to give it?
I'd say I've seen some comedy specials that were had more laughs throughout it. Just because it was this was just more of a get on stage and just do whatever. I feel like there are other comedy specials that had like more things kind of thought out.
Yeah.
But, it was a good first, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Bro, you totally copied my score. I was about to say 7 out of 10. I'm not even trying to agree with you anymore on these scores. But I think it does. I agree with that 7 out of 10. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 too.
Okay.
But only because like he's doing a lot of things different. Mm-hmm. And he's not afraid to. He doesn't care like what else is happening. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like that's what you're supposed to go for. Yeah, so I'm going to give it 7 out of 10.
Sounds good. All right, so what did you see recently, Trey?
Well, I finished the show called Space Force, and it came out. Let's see when it came out. Let's see. I know it came out in May. Mm-hmm. It came out in May 2020. This is the year.
So you just say it came out last month.
Yeah, it came out last month. Which is what a coincidence that it came out the same time that SpaceX launched a rocket up into space on the next day. So
that's pretty
like,
good timing.
It's like what a coincidence, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's starring Steve Carell and John Malkovich. The Space Force show, it's really good. I liked it. It's not the greatest show. It's not the best like comedy show. It's not the best like sci-fi like show. It's not the greatest of anything, but it mixes everything into one. And it makes you actually learn a little bit too. And it's the fact that it stars Steve Carell, which is a comedian, you know, like people like him. But the fact that it has John Malkovich, oh my God. He makes the fucking show. Like, he's just the backup guy. But he's in it most of the time, right?
Yeah.
But he makes the show, like so he's like the head scientist. Steve Carell is like the head of like the head of the military of the Space Force. Mm-hmm. But he's still the boss of everybody under. But John Malkovich is the head of the scientists, so he just just as important of the show, and man, he was killing it. Like he was great throughout. Like maybe 4 episodes, it's fun, it's cool, but then after 4 episodes, there's a total of 10 episodes. But after like 4 episodes, it starts to get more serious. And you know what? Steve Carell was perfect for the role. I haven't liked Steve Carell in a long time. Almost since the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I don't like I know he's in movies here and there. But this is like a 40-year-old virgin, but like re-roll of like, hey, I'm a Space Force commander. And it goes with current times right now because like he didn't even know, like the first episode, he didn't even know he was going to be a Space Force commander. It comes down to the when President Trump announced there's going to be a Space Force.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right? Yeah, like there wasn't one then. So he's getting ready to, like, so he's the first one, and then he's just like, oh, shit.
I don't know anything about space.
Yeah. Well, he didn't know he was going to get
but
like
darn tootin', I'm going to force this space.
Exactly. Yeah.
Force all the space.
I would suggest just watching it. It's only 1 season right now, and I think each episode's only 30 minutes, so you could get through it through a day if you really wanted to watch it. So it's not that bad. I'm glad it's only 30 minutes a day because I can't stand 45-minute episodes unless they're really good shows like Mr. Robot. But anyways, I hate to throw that out there. I just miss it. I just miss it, Manny.
I miss it too.
So Space Force, they give it a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna round it up. I'm gonna give it a 7. Okay. Because it's not a bad show, and it actually teaches you about science, and it gives you a sense of being in his position where, like, shit, we just created something new, a Space Force. Like, you got the Army, you got the Navy, you got the Marines, you got the Green Berets, you got the Navy SEALs. Who's ever heard of the Space Force, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Cool. So other than the things that we watched together this past week, on my own, I did take some time to go back and revisit Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Honestly, one of my, like, it's got to be one of my more favorite movies from when I was really, really young. I remember having the black VHS. I actually have another VHS from Savers. It came with like the same black plastic case. It's based on Tim Burton's poem that he wrote based on the "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," but then he.
Wait, I actually didn't know that the movie is based on a poem.
Yep. Oh, when he was working for Disney as like I think just kind of like a consecutive or just kind of like production worker working on animated movies. I think he had a bit of touched a bit on the Black Cauldron, stuff like that.
Okay.
And so he had the Walt Disney Studios at his disposal, so he made like a few short films like Vincent and Freaking Weenie, which eventually became its own feature movie. Like,
oh my god, I actually added that to my playlist. I didn't know Freaking Weenie was actually a short film back in the day, and it became this feature film.
So eventually they come around to, making Nightmare Before Christmas because, he's just saying, I have this idea for this movie. They're like, great, we want you to get started right away. And then Tim Burton's just like, oh, I can't. I'm too busy making Batman. So they bring on Henry Selick, who I forget if James of the Giant Peach came out. No, I definitely know this now. James and the Giant Peach came out before Nightmare Before Christmas because one of there's a scene where they're underwater and James and the centipede fight a pirate skeleton.
Yes.
Who comes to life. That's actually Jack Skellington's head that they use for that model.
Oh my god.
So we get a little preview of Nightmare Before Christmas before it came out in James and the Giant Peach. But yeah, I was just going back and rewatching because I haven't seen the movie in like a few years, and when I was watching, I was a little of a slum, so just I need something to kind of like cheer me up a bit, and something with lots of movements, lots of choreography, but also in like swelling music and really uplifting. And watching it, I kind of realized that Jack Skellington is like the ultimate self motivator. He's down.
Yeah, exactly.
He's feeling some in the beginning of the movie, and he just brings himself up. He brings himself back up, all excited.
I know, like he gets super positive over something like that was negative. I love that, and I think that's what people really loved about that film.
Like he doesn't. He never really has anybody else come to him to give him motivation. So it always comes from inside. He just kind of does it on his own. Jack being a really great self-motivator, it's very endearing of his character, but it's also kind of naive and laughable. But I think what really kind of saved it was that he's just always just really nice to everybody. Just as long as everybody was happy and they were happy with how everything came out for Halloween, and he knows that what he's feeling. His kind of slump, it's on him. So he kind of walks away and kind of like wallows on his own. He doesn't bring it out on anyone else.
It's a big part of my childhood, which I would hope it was a big part of anyone's childhood.
Yeah.
Because you can't fuck with this movie, right? Like, this movie is this movie. Like, if anyone's to talk shit about this movie, I will defend it till my life ends.
That's actually another thing I wanted to bring up. So if you want to, like, because it would be interesting to hear your take on it. Because I don't think I brought this up before.
I mean, I'm just I'm gonna defend it till my life ends. But go ahead.
And that's how I feel too. Like, I want to defend. Like, I just I have a really great passion for this film, and I want to feel like I want to be able to kind of defend it, protect it. But at the same time, while rewatching it last night, I had that kind of in mind. I'm just like, okay, I'm wondering, how this fares, 27 years from now.
Yeah.
Because it came out the year that I was born, 1993.
1993. Cool. Holy shit.
That's pretty cool. So a couple of years back on Twitter, someone that I'm subscribed to YouTube, they do like movie reviews of like really underground kind of obscene movies, and that's where I get a lot of like movies like watch. That's why I first heard of Tetsuo the Iron Man, was from their channel. They tweeted just out of the blue something along the lines of like, am I the only one that thinks that Sally should not have fallen for Jack?
Oh my god.
Like, in the sense that basically saying that there's nothing really admirable within Jack Skellington to be a love interest.
Yeah.
Because it was late 80s, early 90s that the movie was in production and came out. So you gotta have that love interest, You gotta have
exactly, yeah.
one of the characters, who admiring the other character either from afar or up close. I like, again, I think I said this before with Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. This movie is just kind of like the building of the relationship that develops at the end, which I feel like I'm more fond of than just having the relationship be a thing throughout the whole film. But and there was a lot of people that did agree to that opinion, saying that, like, Jack Skellington, he is not mature enough for a relationship. Like, what did Sally even see in him in the first place? He's so like he's mean to Sally. He doesn't listen to her when she warns him that the Halloween Christmas takeover was gonna go bad. Just like, Jack, you should have listened in the first place. He's too egotistic. He doesn't care about Sally or her feelings. He doesn't care that Sally was prisoned and all that, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I did respond. I only respond, I think maybe 2 tweets. I want to say at least one, basically saying, the movie kind of helps build them up together. It's because it's more of an admiration from afar, because Jack is more of a political figure. Like, he's not the mayor of Halloween Town because they already have a mayor. He's just kind of like the head of, the whole Halloween holiday, the Pumpkin King, they call him. So, they have that, you have that going for him. You also have that Sally is probably, like a few years old, which is a little weird to kind of say, but she has the mental maturity of a woman. So, putting in that context, maybe it's not that weird anymore, though it doesn't help. And she's also Sally's also been in prison for basically her whole life.
Yeah. So
she wants to have whatever is out there. And to be honest, Jack Skellington is the only catch in all of Halloween Town. Everybody else is fucking ugly. So I tweeted all that, like all those points, and they replied with saying, "Thank you for explaining a children's film to me." And I replied back with, "Oh, you're welcome." I just said, "Oh, you're welcome." And they didn't respond back after that. And just to finally finish it off, I just want to add in that this person that I was tweeting with, this person was going through a period of transition in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave it at that. I didn't reply with this, but I just want to say maybe you're probably the last person to be knocking someone down for having an identity crisis.
Why?
That's all I'm going to say about that. Its simplicity is what made it more loved by mainstream audiences, and then develop that cult following. Trying to dissect it more, like the person on Twitter was, with Sally, the genuineness of Sally's love interest for Jack Skellington.
Yeah,
it misses the point of Nightmare Before Christmas, but but it's what these kind of popular things occur.
Mm-hmm.
People want to go into it more. They want to have more discussions. Except maybe not that person. I think that person just wanted people to agree with them.
Yeah.
So, but that wraps up for Night Before Christmas with me. If you want to score, I'd say there's anything you can say other than a 10 out of 10, baby.
Well, okay. So when I give it a 10 out of 10 automatically.
Yes. Oh yeah.
IMDb gives it the 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why they're missing that 2 out of 10. Like, it's an 8 out of 10. Like, what? Who the fuck hated that film? Like, what kind of garbage person are you to not give it a 10 out of 10?
It's kind of like that CinemaSins mentality where they're nitpicking. This part doesn't make sense. Why would they think Jack died when he got shot down from the sky when he's already dead? Can you double die?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just I guess that kind of growing up, you kind of look back that's a little weird, but you just kind of go with it just because I don't know. You could dig more. Like I said earlier, you could dig more into it if you want, but that defeats that misses the point of the simplicity of it. That's what makes it very much more enjoyable for a lot more people.
IMDb gives it 8 out of 10, and we're both going to go for 8 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Yes. I mean, that only makes sense. What else do you need out of the animation film? It had every emotion that you want to feel. Anyways.
All right. Do you want to finish it off with the last thing we saw?
Yes.
This week it was the documentary Mansfield 6667.
Yes.
That was quite interesting. An interesting watch.
Yes. I don't feel like a lot of people will know about these people, but they were very important. And when it comes down to understanding Hollywood in the 60s.
The events of two people in the year 1966 and 67.
Yeah.
Two quite a big pop culture people of the time, that being the actress James Mansfield and the founder of the Church of Satan himself. Not Satan, Anton LaVey.
The first part reminds me of Marilyn Monroe, which has died in I think 62 or 63.
Yeah, James Mansfield kind of takes that pedestal.
Yeah, and she makes it into a lot more. She upgraded what Marilyn Monroe was.
Mm-hmm. And the documentary goes into it really, really quite well, explaining that she was almost kind of like a parody of Marilyn
she
Monroe
was. Yeah, I agree with that.
She talked very freely. She squeaked with every sentence that she said.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the movie ends even with her doing one of how can a human being make a sound like that?
Yes.
It's a dolphin can only understand it. Understand those frequencies.
The fact that she didn't live to that potential, I feel bad for her. We get to learn about her life, and we see how it goes and who she's involved with, and her kids and her marriages, and
a lot of people involved in her life.
Yeah, and I feel bad for her because she didn't want to become something, But she should also be a representative to people nowadays, and I don't think people nowadays are ever gonna know. They're not gonna know who the fuck Jane Mansfield was.
Mm-hmm.
And that what makes me feel bad is because like you have to learn what you're getting yourself into when you want to become famous.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and her gateway of doing that was just to be involved with everything all the time. She would crash parties and hang out with Anton. She did that because, they were starting to get the satanic chick was starting to get more attention, and she wanted to become a part of that. But then I guess she not necessarily got involved too much. It was definitely. The documentary does make a point that it was a odd friendship built between them, but that also, she also got too many other people involved, mainly her husband at the time, who ended up getting cursed by Anton to die in a car crash.
So, learning about Anton LaVey, like me and you. We already have our interest in Anton LaVey, right? Like sort of, but we didn't even know like this person came up out of nowhere, right? Like, wasn't that kind of weird at the same time? What's your opinion on that?
It was weird. It was weird that like someone like her would be involved with him. I thought it was kind of funny because the
it is kind of funny
because the satanic temple. Like the new like church or stage nowadays, they don't do like curses, that kind of thing. They don't really have like official like rituals. They just kind of let people do whatever they want. It wasn't her that he cursed. It was her husband at the time, and
right.
I just think it's really funny. It was just because it's obviously just a way that he's trying to get her to get away from her husband, because he's telling her that he's not someone you want to be around with. So it's like, and then he's just all like, if you stay around him for too long, if you continue to stay with him, he's gonna end up getting killed, and it's gonna end up getting you killed as well with him.
Do you believe what we saw though in the documentary?
Nah, whether or not that they met Anton LaVey, those kind of people living together would have definitely gotten involved in some kind of wreck, either with an automobile for like 7 times or some other thing.
Yeah.
Visiting a petting zoo, getting mauled by a lion.
Yeah.
Which happened to one of her children.
Yeah.
Just the kind of people that they were, that was like bound to happen.
Yeah, exactly, Buzz.
Mm-hmm.
It got super interesting with all of them.
Mm-hmm. And it told everything in such an interesting way too. Not in like a lot of documentaries I've ever seen. They have a lot of, I want to call it like B-roll or side scenes or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's not always just talking heads of the people they're interviewing, explaining what happens. They have actors kind of portray different characters. They have like a scrawny, nerdy guy portraying Anton LaVey. They have like 4 different actors portraying Jane Mansfield. And it was just a really interesting. They used like toy cars. They used little props. They had like minimal sets.
Yeah.
Interesting lighting. It was like a really just a fun, interesting documentary to watch.
So you liked all of that shit?
Yes.
As we were saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some parts, like some scenes, like kind of like went on for too long, I felt like.
Yeah.
Or just kind of like a little too odd to make it kind of like coherent, or just it doesn't add anything to it, so why have it even in there? But overall, it was a very, very fun movie to watch. Did you have any other thoughts about Mansfield 66, 67?
Oh, I loved it.
67.
It was a great documentary. I think a lot of people should learn about it. They should learn about Anton LaVey, and he was very affiliated with James Mansfield, and
who is also just as interesting to learn about, because those kind of actors, actresses from way back when, I have no idea of anything about it. It's just
Right.
something I never grew up watching, those old, kind of older movies. But
Mm-hmm.
she actually did quite a lot, and she was really big at the time, very popular.
And
so.
she was good. She was good.
She was just such a great personality too. So it's just very unfortunate that
What happened to her?
she got scalped right as she and her husband with her kids in the back seat were driving. They like rammed right into the back of a semi, I think, and the bar smashed their heads in. Luckily, the kids were fine, but still sucks.
Apparently the kids ducked down or something like that.
Yeah, they were like just low enough that they didn't get any of it.
You should check it out.
Oh yeah,
Type thing.
everybody check it out.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, I think it's only $2.
Is it $2?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe $3. But yeah, that wraps it up for us, I think. Yeah, this was a pretty fun week, wouldn't you agree?
Yes. It was a very fun week.
Yeah, we watched a lot of stuff together. Not often that we do watch that much, at least. So yeah, thank you everybody at home for listening, and tune in next time for another episode of Monolith to Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast.
Episode 7.
For episode 7, yeah. So thank you again, everybody, for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye. Peace out.